Okay, so this is a quick walkthrough of our Northwest 370 Coupe. She was built in 2010 in Sweden, and Northwest are known for their high quality build. So I'm just going to take a little bit of a look around, and then we'll go and have a look at the outside, and then a detailed walkthrough of the inside. I'll also show you some of the changes we've made. We've been living on the boat for about 10 weeks here in Croatia, so there's a few things that we've modified this season just to make her more comfortable. And the first thing to point out on the Northwest is the quite nice large bathing platform, and because we are med-mooring here in Croatia, we have a passerelle which is hydraulically operated, goes in and out and up and down. Also in the back here we have a couple of lockers and an outboard bracket. When we got the boat, there was also a stern anchor just in this position down here. They don't really do stern anchoring here in Croatia. Sometimes they take a line ashore, so we've kept the line in the winch, and I'll show you that in a minute. I took the anchor off just to give us a bit more room to pull the dinghy up onto this back deck when we're hopping between anchorages. Also in the back deck you can just see the swim ladder, which telescopes down out of the back of the deck. Now, stepping on board the swim platform, you can see the sturdy outboard bracket, and in this corner we've got the usual kind of shower fitting, hot and cold, and this attachment here which is a deck wash, which is quite handy. I just love some of the little touches in here. If you take a look at this locker, the feeling of solidity here, and they've put in a nice little catch right here so that you can keep it open. If we'd had hydraulic rams on here, it would make it a bit more difficult to get in. In this locker I've got some hoses and things, but you can also see there's an electric winch there with lots of rope, and that's which feeds out to here for stern anchoring or taking a line on the shore, and you operate that electric winch with a remote control, which I'll show you later. Another little locker in the back, well, quite a big locker actually, which we've got lots of rope, and quite bizarrely the previous owner fitted this, which is for ski towing water skiers, and probably quite an expensive way to go water skiing. Also, just have a look at how nice and substantial these rubbing strips are all the way along the length of the boat. Okay, so now we're in the cockpit, and there's a nice chunky door. Secures nicely. And there's seating for 3 or 4 people comfortably around this table, which flips up. In addition, we've added a couple of deck chairs, and in fact that's probably where we most enjoy sitting in the evenings. Looking around, we've got a manual control for the passerelle, the boarding ladder, a little locker, and on this other side we have the shore power connector and another quite decent sized locker. In this locker we've got the breakers for the shore power, and a couple of speakers and some more hooks. Now, we haven't fitted them today, but we do actually have some clear plastic sides for this cockpit, and we also have some mesh which lets a bit more breeze in these hot Croatian summers. We're going to take a look up the front of the boat, and then we'll come back here and look in the inside. Some really nice big meaty cleats on this boat. And on the top here, just a remote control searchlight radar. That's a TV antenna, nav, text, GPS, VHF. There's a Kiwi flag. You can see there's nice handholds all the way around here and solid extensions. Pump out for the toilet. And up front, a nice view of the electric sunroof. Lots of nice stainless steel on the hatches. And up front we have the windlass and windlass controls. We have a couple of manual switches. We can also operate it from inside the boat, and we have a remote control as well. Like all of our boats, I've replaced the anchor on the Northwest with a spade, which I find to be excellent. It had a Bruce on here before, and you see lots of Bruces around on other boats in the marina. I just really like my spade anchors, and a nice handy loading ladder if we end up going bows too. And a nice big anchor looker. We have about 50 metres of chain on Luna, which I found to be pretty adequate for the anchoring around here. Sun pad isn't really my thing, but some of our guests seem to appreciate it. Now before we go inside, I'm just going to open up the engine bay, and I think it's one of the really nicely engineered features of this boat. So the floor opens up in two halves, and it's hydraulically operated, so by pressing this button here, up she comes. And just clambering down inside the engine compartment, you can see we have some nice big raker filters, lots of hydraulics, and fire suppression system, an 8 kVA generator, hot water of course, and here we have the real business end of things, two Volvo D6 370s. Now these are 5.5 litre 6-cylinder diesels. They are supercharged and turbocharged, good for 370 horsepower and about 950 newton meters of torque each, and they will let us go along in excess of 35 knots. We don't tend to do that, but it's there for us if we wanted. Also in the engine bay here we have the controls for the passerelle, and also a nice touch in Sweden, a diesel heater system. Not much use here in Croatia in the summer. So moving now into the saloon, with some nice big glass sliding doors, and definitely one of the outstanding features in the Northwest is the beautiful wood that they've used in the interior of this boat. It seems a little bit more like a sailing boat in some ways than a motorboat. So moving around the galley, we have a TV set and we have an antenna, but we just use a little Amazon Fire Stick here to stream Netflix and other TV shows that we like to watch. The electrics that are another real feature in the Northwest. You can see here on this panel we have a collection of light switches and dimmers and power sockets controlling all the lights. And behind this little panel we have a master volt system which manages the batteries, the generator, and the isolation transformer as well. We have a switch for the water heater and the generator, and an indicator that your black water tank is full. Nice 1.5 sink. And because of that big gen set, we don't have gas for our cooking on the boat. We do have an electric hob. And down here we have a neat little microwave that's also a grill and an oven. Lots of storage, and in here we have a little fridge, and amazingly under the driver's seat we have a freezer, which we tend to use as a fridge. One of the things I really love about this boat is just the little details. So if I take a look in this cupboard, we have a selection of handmade glasses, all with the Nordwest brand on. Nice heavy Swedish glass. Plates and dishes, again all nicely branded. Even little shot glasses. And the branding continues on our coasters, knives and forks, all with the logos and brand on. And other little things to show you up this end, we have an extractor fan. And quite neatly along this side we have a tight little drinks cabinet, which has usually got a little bit more in it than it has at the moment. Now this table fills quite neatly, and one of the reasons for that is that this chair, end of the chair, converts into another forward facing seat, so you and some of your guests can both enjoy the view out the front window as you're cruising along. Now let's take a look round the helm station. The electrics are really very impressive in this boat. Just look at all of those breakers. On top of all of those breakers, and some of my other boats, the breaker was also the on-off switch. We have a bank of switches at the helm station here. For things like the horn for to turn the water pressure on, to empty the holding tanks, bilge pumps, windscreen washers, windscreen wipers. Let's step up here and have a good look at the view from the helm chair. So the first thing you notice down here is a little control for the diesel heating, which we haven't made any use of yet. We have a bow thruster, multifunction instrument, chain, counter, engine buttons, switches, remote control for the searchlight, This is controls the angle of the stern drives. So this is for just moving the stern drives in and out. Helps you get in the plane. You also have some trim tabs. And on this side we have the fire suppression. We have windlass controls. Nice little water gauge. And the EVC controls for the Volvo displays. And of course the docking joystick. Up here we have our twin throttles, nice opening window, controls for the sunroof, Navtex VHF, and we have two Raymarine plotters. Typically we're driving along, I like to use this one for just the depth or radar, and we use the fish finder function. We can see the bottom of the sea, which I quite like to see. And on this one I typically have this just in large full screen on the chart. And looking ahead we have trim indicators, we have displays for each of the tachos for each of the engines, and a nice big compass in the middle. Over on this side a few analog instruments, and one of the things I've done in this boat is behind this panel is I put in a 4G Wi-Fi router, and that's been absolutely fantastic. One of the best things I've done on this boat. Before that we had really weak Wi-Fi in this marina, but now we can get pretty decent internet speeds here in the marina, and out around the islands we can watch TV, we can all be browsing the web. It's been a real godsend. Thing here, we've got a little chart cupboard, and then let's step down into the cabins. So the first cabin I'll show you is the smallest, which is a little single cabin. Storage everywhere as usual. We've got some storage here. It's a nice little cupboard. We have a little locker, again, switches and dimmers, and then just a delightful little single berth. And typically I think you'd sleep with your head at this end of it. But pretty decent size. Just a curtain, not a door on this cabin. Under the stairs again, nice little storage nooks. And in this room my daughter's been using, and we find a nice little hatch with a really decent sized wardrobe. In here, again, nice light controls and dimmers. And then just look at the size of this. This is a very large bed, and as well as having a nice thick mattress, they come with these mattress toppers, which just makes it more comfortable. Again, if I look round to the side of this bulkhead, you can see there's a bit more headroom, opens up, and again more storage. So there are 4 cupboards there. One of them has the fish finder, the heading sensor, some RCD breakers, things like that in there, but these cupboards are all free. And there is even a bit of storage under this bed, although the batteries are also under this bed, so they take up a fair bit of the room. Nice little chair that I was just sitting on, and again look underneath, and yes, they've eked out a little bit more storage even under here. Great cupboard here behind the door. This is probably our most useful, one of our more useful cupboards. And then this is the master cabin. Although the bed you know, maybe isn't as big as the other one, but you have certainly a bit more headroom. I'm about 5'11" and I'm standing up quite comfortably here at this end of the bed. We have a couple of steps and cupboards at either side, and as you come to expect, storage. There's a large storage cupboard under here. The bow thruster is right under here, and in fact up at this end of the bed there's also a large storage cupboard. We have an anchor in there, a whole bunch of spare life jackets. Probably worth showing, one of the other things that we did in this boat was put in these Hella fans, and we've got 4 of these in fact, just wired in. It's something we used to have in our catamaran in the tropics. Really makes a difference, along with one other little thing, which is bug screens. So we got bug screens for all of the port lights. Let the breeze come in without worrying about getting eaten by mosquitoes. And then the last room on the boat is here, and again we have lots of mirrors, and this really quite neat shower cubicle. So this comes around in a circle, and again, I've come to expect from Northwest, storage, electric flushing toilet, and a lovely teak grate. So it really is quite a nice, pleasant bathroom with a bit of ventilation in there as well. And although we've got carpets on the floor here, there's actually a huge locker underneath here which goes the whole width of the boat, and it's pretty deep. We've got our dinghy down there, and we'll keep the deck chairs down there and a whole bunch of other stuff, including the sides for the cockpit. So there we have it, our 2010 Northwest 370 Coupe in all of our glory. If you have any questions about the boat, please feel free to drop me a line and I'll try my best to answer them. We only keep the boat in the water for the summer months, and then we store it on land for the rest of the year. This helps to prevent corrosion around the outdrives, and also we cover the boat in a cover that just helps to keep the UV from damaging the interior furnishings in the boat. Well, thanks for watching this video, and check out my other boating videos of this boat and some others we've owned in the past.